tell you guys a story. Let me tell you a story of something that happened to me a few months ago. So, little context, when me and Sarah bought this house, we didn't set up our water service fast enough. So, the water people came out and shut off our water like within like a day of buying the house. And so we didn't have water for a little while, and we had to get it set up, and so they came back out and they turned the water back on. So that was that. So when we had service and everything like that, the next month I got an email for my very first water bill. I was actually really excited about it because I've never had a water bill, and it's strangely probably weird. I was kind of excited to pay it. So I opened up the email, and inside it said a number. Numbers are funny, you know? They're just words on the screen that impact you. They impact your life. $2,000. I sit there in a state of panic. This can't be happening to me. This can't be, God, why did you set me up? Everything was too perfect. Why did you do this to me? You know? I call the water people, and I'm like, hey, so, so what is happening to me right now? $2,000, like what, why? So they tell me that, you know, I might have a very serious leak in the house or something like that. And I'm like, well, I mean, I just got the house inspected, so like there's not a leak. That's not even possible. And then the lady on the phone suggests that I left some toilets running, which was kind of funny to me, like $2,000 worth of toilets continually flushing. She was like, yeah, like because you didn't, you know, you gotta push the handle all the way up, or else the water just keeps draining. And I was like, okay, like I can understand that, but like, I mean, we're talking like an astronomical amount of water, and there's only 2 toilets. So she said that she couldn't really talk about it, she couldn't really help me until a technician came out and looked at the water meter and made sure that everything was actually right and that there really weren't any major leaks anywhere. This person would leave a blue note on the door with like the verdict, if I had to pay $2,000 or not. And she said that there was a note in the system that said that the person who came and turned my water back on after they had shut it off initially when we bought the house, that they said that they had installed a new meter reader in my water meter. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then she said that the person would come in a week. They would be there in a week. And I was like, okay, so I basically just sat and waited for this blue note to come on the door for a week. And then another week. And then another week. And then a month. And then 2 months. And there was no blue note on the door. So I'm just waiting, like what is going on? I'm trying to figure out what is going on. Like every day I'm looking for this blue note and there's never a blue note on the door. Look, this is life or death here, okay? This is $2,000 or not. These people never come for 2 months. 2 months solid, they're not here. So I've got all this free time on my hand. I'm like, well, you know what? They said that they put in a new meter reader out there. So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to see if anything looks new on the water meter. So I open up the little thingy and I look down. Very dusty down there. It looks ancient. It looks prehistoric. It looks very old. And I read some numbers down there. It says 774 CCF. I don't know what that means, but it is a very high number. So I go back inside and I call up one of my friends and I'm like, dude, let's figure out if there is something just wrong here. Like if they have just misread something, if something has gone wrong. So we're on the phone for like an hour and we figure out that basically we don't think anybody actually changed anything on the meter. Nothing was changed out at all when they came and they turned the water back on. And the 774 is in units of like CCF, which I'm not exactly sure what that means, but basically that's an extremely high number. And because they said that they had changed out the meter reader, that would have been reset to 0. So basically, within, like what the thing was saying, within like a 1 week period, I had used 0 and then all the way up to 774 CCF, which is insane. Insane. I think we figured out that would be like 300,000 gallons of water in like a 1 week period. Like it's actually impossible. Like the house would be floating away. It's like Noah's flood. So I call again. I call these people again. I call them up on the phone and I'm like, look, all right. Let me explain to you what happened, okay? There was nobody changed anything on my meter. It's old, there's cobwebs on it, nothing was changed. These people, they will not listen to me. Literally, they seemed like zombies. Obviously, I think that they hated their jobs or something, because they just literally, they would not listen to me, and they were like, look, we can explain payment plans for the $2,000. I was like, I'm not paying the $2,000. Did you understand? I'm not paying it. There was an error. There was a mistake. There was no change in the meter. Nobody changed anything. Everybody who has lived in this house before me, I am paying all at once. All of their payments. All at once, as one lump sum. And it's a little confusing, but we figured out that that's exactly what it was that I was doing. And this person, they would not listen to me. They just said, look, I cannot talk about this. We have to wait for a technician to come out. They'll put a blue note on the door, and they'll say if there's anything. I'm like, look, I know, no, I've been waiting for 2 months here. 2 months. To figure out if like I have to pay this $2,000 or not for 2 months. Well, they'll come out by the end of the week, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay. We'll wait until the end of the week. I just wanted to get off the phone at this point. I mean, I had been on the phone for like 25 minutes. So I hang up. Wait till the end of the week. No blue note on the door. Nobody came. I call again. And every single time I call, I have to explain this entire crazy situation of them not actually changing out the water meter. And they just don't understand. They just literally will not listen to me. They just keep telling me about how I to these payment plans and how I can pay the $2,000. And so I'm like, look, they haven't come out for 2.5 months. And it was supposed to take them 1 week to come out and look at the water meter. And she was like, looking at her notes, and she's like, oh yeah, it does seem like there's somebody is supposed to come out. Well, they'll come out tomorrow. They'll be out there by tomorrow. I guarantee it. I didn't tell her this, but I was like, so literally the one day that I call you, it just so happens they're gonna come out the next day after they haven't been out for 2.5 months. Like, okay, give me a break. So to my shock, nobody comes out the next day. So I've got this like $2,000 water bill plus all these other water bills that are now piling up because I'm not paying anything because I can't actually tell what my actual payment is because of this $2,000 thing. So finally, I think it was like another 2 weeks later. I don't know. It was just totally insane. I see the water people drive by, pull up into my driveway. The guy walks out, walks over to the water meter. And I kid you not, this is exactly what he did. Walks over to it, stands over the water meter, opens it up, and literally, he like looks around and itching his head. Just the most confused look on his face. So I'm like, does this guy actually like not know like what is? So I walk out there, hello, and I'm like, hey, and he was like, so what am I doing here? And I was like, please don't let me have to explain this thing again. So I explained the entire situation. Again, they said there was supposed to be a new water meter, and there was no new water meter reader in there, and so I'm paying blah, 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 $200,000. The guy, very, very confused, kind of starting to make sense what I'm saying a little bit. He walks back to his truck, gets on his computer, and this guy just seems like just extremely confused. Like, I just can't overemphasize how confused this guy was. Like, I think that day was just the day that he went to different houses that were like having problems, and he didn't actually like look at why he was going. He just like had this routine that he did. He had no idea. So he opens up finally my specific case of why he's even here in the first place. And he just stares at it and he's like, huh, it says that somebody changed out the meter reader. And I was like, yeah, that's what I said. Like, and he was like, yeah, well, that's impossible to do. Like, we can't change out meter readers. Like, that's not even a thing that is possible. Like, we can't do that. And so I'm just standing there, like, so why is it on the screen? Like, if somebody typed it out that they did that. And so, like, this guy actually told me this. He probably wasn't supposed to, but he was like, I think that somebody just did this to you. I think they were just messing with you. Because, like, this is impossible. Like, we cannot do this. I mean, that explanation makes no sense to me. Like, Like the person just decides to, but you know what? I believe him. I believe this guy. Maybe the person was just having a bad day and they just wanted to mess with, but he said like that they cannot actually change the meter reader back to 0. But that's what this guy said that he had done. I don't know. It is very, very confusing. So after like this big revelation from this guy, he basically guaranteed me that this $2,000 water bill would be just kaput. It would be gone. And I wouldn't have to pay it because, like, nothing made any sense. So he drives off. I log onto the computer the next day, onto my account, and sure enough, the $2,000 charge is gone. But there is another $103 charge that is on the thing. And these are late fees. These are late fees for the $2,000 that I had not been paying. It's the interest on the $2,000. They somehow forgot to erase that little fun part. They forgot. So you know what? I'm so tired of calling these people. I don't even call them. I'm like, you know what? Maybe they'll figure out what happened, and when I'm not paying that part of my bill, I'm paying, you know, the actual current charges. Maybe they'll realize what had happened, and they'll just erase the $100 charge. No, no, they didn't. They didn't do that. What do you think comes to the door? A notice. Your water will be shut off in 5 days if you do not pay this $100. Ding, 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 ding. Hello? Why are you doing this to me? Why? I just want to have a normal life. That's all. I'm so tired of dealing with you people. So I explained this story for the 5th or 6th time to this lady, who seems like she's not even listening to me. Hi, how can I help you? I immediately go into this long, 5-6 minute spiel about everything that's happened, just so that there's some context for her to understand what's even happening. I'm like, so like this $100 charge, late fees for the interest, $2,000 bill, which wasn't even mine. All I hear from her after I talk for 6 minutes is, please hold. Click. And there's like this like happy music playing behind it. I'm just like sitting there, and I'm sitting there for 10 minutes with just this looped music going and going and going and going. It's actually pretty catchy, I'll admit. And it's funny how it works out, because the second I was like, Sarah, this person is never even gonna come back, that is the very moment that they came back on the line, and they're like, excuse me, and I'm like, yes. So I took out the $100 charge. She was actually listening to me. And she put me on hold for 10 minutes because she was actually listening to me, and she was doing the math behind everything that I was saying to her. And then she pieced it all together and told me exactly what charge she was taking off and what I still owed. Like, she was actually extremely helpful. And so after she had taken off the $100 charge and had explained to me all of my, silly questions that I had been asking her, I just told her, thank you so much for listening and actually answering my questions. And she was just really nice. It was a great ending to this $2,100 fiasco. But the good news is that now I'm actually getting normal water bills, and I can just pay them. I've never been more happy to pay a bill in my life than when I just see a normal water bill with no late fees. It's actually very, very amazing. So anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed this incredibly stupid fiasco of a story that I went through. If you guys ever actually end up using 300,000 gallons of water in 1 month, let me know how that goes. If you even still have a house, or if it's rotted or floated away, that would be really great. So talk to you guys next week. Stay safe out there, okay? Don't let anybody mess with you, all right? Peace out.